Hey YouTube, welcome to the Infologs channel. In our previous video tutorial we have seen the introduction of JWT, and also we have seen few details about how we can what is the JWT, where we can implement that, what are the actual scenarios which can be suited to integrate the JWT or the token based authentication process, right? In this video we will see how we can actually implement in ASP.NET Core web application in web API. So let's get started. First of all, let me introduce myself. This is Abhishek Bedre. In this video we'll see the actual implementation of JWT, right? You can go ahead and visit this ASP.NET Core tutorial series where we have loaded all the articles and videos on infologs.in website. Here currently we are on the article number 26, using the middleware. This is the article that we are going to follow during this video tutorial series. First of all, if you have a basic understanding of JSON web tokens, then you can watch this video. If you don't have, you can watch our earlier videos. It will give you a basic platform where we can implement JWT, what are the need to implement the token based authentication and all that process, right? Let's flip to Visual Studio for developing this application, right? So before let me start this Visual Studio, and before it starts, let's talk about this article. So this is our project, which looks like a final image after including all this stuff, and then we have particular steps which we have to follow. The package that we have to include, there are a few models, the middleware integration and all that process. And after all, at last we have a few testing scenarios where we are going to test it. So my Visual Studio is started, so let's go. And from now what I'm going to do is I'll create a solution for ASP.NET Core demo projects, and all the projects will include that in the same solution. So we don't need, and that whole solution will be available on github.com/infologs in. Not in, it's don't need to, I think that's in Facebook and Twitter. So just go for github.com/infologs. You'll see the all examples in single solution. So it will be easy to you guys to find out from the GitHub repository, right? Okay, so create a new project. Here I'll select ASP.NET Core Web, and just for information, I'm also going to start a new series on Blazor technology. Currently that is in very high buzz mode. So in the next week on Wednesday, you'll see the introduction video of Blazor technology, right? So I hope you're gonna enjoy that too. Coming to the point, ASP.NET Core Web Application, click on Next, and here we'll create a project name, that is JWT token using middleware, and the project name, solution name will be ASP.NET Core demo projects. Provide your location wherever you wanted to save this. We got the new. Currently on my machine I have already included the 3.1, and the framework you have to select it and then select API. Don't go for the HTTPS process, there are a few others, but we are going to focus on this. In our previous video I was talking about these two templates. Okay, so this is the totally web applications, which is similar like web forms, and this is the standard model view controller application. So let me know on which you wanted to see more videos. So Currently I'll select the API because we have to make token based authentication. So this doesn't mean that the token can only be implemented in API. You can also include that in your regular web application process as well. We talked about, we wanted to save this session based or cookie based or like that kind of stuff. So do it fast, man. Yeah, go up there in the article. So currently we are in the steps. Now next is our JWT. Before loading the JWT, let's cross check that we actually need it or not, because we have targeted our application on 3.1, right? Just close this, and the frameworks, ASP.NET and ASP.NET Core, and we have a controller with the name of weather forecast controller, right? And then we have some basic stuff. This is startup.j startup configuration file, which have use routing, authorization process, and then endpoints, that is map controller. Okay, so I'll just run this application and let's see what is the output of this. Okay, this will take a few seconds because we are building it for the first time. Okay, so as we have directly mapped our routing to the controller, map to controller, so we don't need to put some API words just before the controller name, right? So here you can see the output of a particular API. Okay, and now let's stop this project, close all the stuff by pressing Ctrl F4. Okay, this is the controller and this is the model, right? So go back to the, okay, so here now we have to create a token provider option. Okay, this is a simple model that we are going to do in our project, so I'll explain it, but before, let me add a folder called model, and then I'm gonna add a simple class with the name of token options. Yeah, token option providers we have added, and now here are a few properties that needs to be included in our model. So number one, the path. Okay, from where we wanted to create a token. I have initialized it by default /token. That means if you seen the output of earlier run, so there will be the server name, the localhost /port/ weather forecast. Okay, so in that case we'll just use /token to create it. Okay, then we are going to include the issuer, who is the issuer of this token, who is the audience of this token, what will be the expiration time, and the signing credentials. Okay, we'll talk about this on signing credentials. Okay, this is asking for install identity model, so I'll just go ahead and click on install the packages. So before that, I think my internet connection is a little bit slow, so I'll take it. I'll just forward this video. So okay, so here I'll go in the browse section, and yeah, Microsoft identity model, current is 5.6. check for the compatibility. This is for the .NET Framework version. Framework. Okay, we don't need this. We wanted to use the core related things. Okay, Okay, this is the signing credential that we are going to use, and options.signing credentials. So what will be the options? So options will be yeah, the token provider options. Okay, so the same thing, we are going to use this. Okay, so not available. Okay, we can't install this because this is targeted to the, okay, so here is the JSON web tokens, and again this is again the standard framework. Okay, this is not for the ASP.NET Core projects. This is the framework related thing, so we are not going to do that. So instead of that, I'm gonna add JWT bearer. Okay, if that is not required, then later we will remove that NuGet package. So here you can go ahead and select the manage NuGet packages, and under the browse section you can go ahead and use JWT bearer. So here you will see the Microsoft ASP.NET Core. This is the important, right? Authentication.jwt bearer, and here you can see that .NET Core app 3.1. Okay, the dependency. So you just click on install. It will get installed in a few seconds. So nowadays, whenever you include the particular any NuGet package in your project, so make sure it should compatible to your ASP.NET Core project, right? Otherwise it will throw you error and you just keep rushing your head why this is coming, right? Okay, so now let's try to include this. See, we have the proper references now. Okay, just go and click F12. Let's see where it goes. It goes into the Microsoft 5.5 this, and the tokens and the signatures and all that stuff, right? So let's go ahead and see what are the NuGet packages available. Okay, so currently we have included only single NuGet packages. You can also go ahead and see that in the dependency section under the packages, under the ASP.NET Core, and under the ASP.NET Core, this package is dependent on this Open Connect ID package, and this is the separate authentication there. And then again you can expand this identity model package that is dependent on Microsoft Identity Model protocols and the Newtonsoft JSON. Okay, everything is available in this one single package, so you don't need to go for the specific NuGet package. Just go ahead and use this JWT, right? So now it's clear. So just okay, now we have ready with our model, that is I have already explained. These are the 4 things that we are going to save in use in our project, and this is the signature credentials that we are using in our product create the token, JWT token actually. Okay, so now it's time to create a middleware using the responsible creating token, which is responsible for creating token and validating the claims sent by the user. If you don't know how to create middlewares, yeah, this is an important one. If you don't know how the middleware is working and what are the flow and things in middleware, so you can go ahead and watch this. I think there is a video. Yeah, videos is available, and also the article is available. So you just go ahead and do this. Okay, so currently I'm just going to add this token middleware in our project, so that will be available in our root project. So just add new item. So here you just select ASP.NET Core and go for the middleware class. So name of the middleware class will be token provider middleware. So if you go for the middleware, then you will get the default points, default sections. Let's say we have let's say parameterized constructors, which takes the different references of next execution of middleware. And then we have an invoke method. This is the important one. And then we have few extension methods which will gonna integrate this middleware in our startup.cs file. Okay, this is the default thing. Now let's include few other things that we actually needed. So let's include the request delegate. We have an I options. Okay, this is the thing that we are going to work with. So let's I'll tell what is this I option and all that stuff. So I'll just include the code and then we'll talk about on that. So let's create a variable with a read only section, then private read only I options, and then token provider options, and then then underscore options. So here we'll use our model reference, and then it's equal to options. So this needs to include the package. Let's go ahead and install this. Run a git package, exten extension option. It's taking a few seconds to search on internet. Okay, let me for a second. Just don't need to include this. Okay, and we have invoke. Okay, there are few codes under the section. If the path doesn't match, then skip. Okay, so option.path, that is what we have already set in our model, that is /token. So if that path matches, so we are going to execute a few things on the middleware, right? So just this is the particular section. So here we are talking about context request.path. Okay, what is the context? So whenever any user try to access or sends a request, the whole context comes here. Okay, so for that, so I'll gonna replace this name with a context, so we don't need to rename all the way, right? The context, and then again context here. Okay, so now here what we are going to check, if the request URL, which is the /token, then if not, okay, this is the not, then we are going to process the next middleware which is listed in the startup.cs. okay, if the matches, okay, if the matches and request is for post, okay, someone is making a post request, then we are saying, hey, 400 bad request. You can't post data on create section, right? So in real world you need a post method, because whenever you're going to create a token, you need a basic username and password. But right now we are not going to do that. We are just saying, hey, this is the request, and give me the JSON web token, okay, based on the static data. So we are returning the 400 bad request, and if the everything is perfect, that means user is coming for the get request. In that case, we are using method which is name is generate token, and that token will be responsible to create a token. Okay, so here we are going to make a method that is create token. So just go ahead and make a private task generate token. So now we have HTTP context, but currently we'll put that is as async. Okay, so now here you'll see that we have a few things. Let me explain you. We don't need this not implementation section. So now here we have a few test data, and we have again a get identity method which is just above this. Okay, what is the role of this method? This will collect the identity of the requester. Let me give you an example. This will collect and add the claims to the token if the username and password is correct. Okay, so currently we have hard coded the username and password. So if you wanted to make it dynamic, so you can just remove this section and accept the JSON data in the post method, and then pass that username and password on the subsequent methods, and then you can dynamically check over here if the username and password which matches with my the database or the virtual collection. Then we are going to create a new claims by using the claim identity section. Okay, so here you can see we are going to create a new claim. So here is the claim of username. Second, we have a claim of collection which has different options. Let's say the subject is username, Infologs, audiences and issuer. Okay, so here we have a claim of JTI and IIT different. Okay, here you can store whatever you wanted to. Okay, so just put your collection and there you go. Okay, this is the collection of claims, and then this is the claim identity, and the whole identity will get returned. And if this is invalid, let's say username and invalid, so we'll return a null claim. Or let's say return it false. Okay, so credentials are invalid or account doesn't exist, whatever it is, right? Okay, now we have a get identity created, and here cannot assign a void to an implicit typed variable. So this is the awaitable, and we have a task, and cannot awaited task return no value. This is not a async method, right? Okay, so what this saying, t result of x equals to await from result. Okay, the type argument from method t result t cannot be interfered from the usage. Try specifying the type argument explicitly. So here we are saying from result. So this is the thing. So let me make it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, so from results we are returning the claims identity. So this is not accepting a null, so I'll create a new claim identity without any claim. Okay, and here we don't need to use the get authenticate. Okay, and then identity dot so what are the options I'm getting? If it's null, then we are going to return username, invalid username and password. And if it's not null, then we are going to go for the check. So let's try catch. So whatever we put, that should be in try catch. So here we'll take a current date and time now for the verification of, and then the verification of expiry date and all that stuff to put in our token. And then we will put the list of claims. So we need to put that in. Why this is asking for n unit. Okay, so I'll make a few general things change. So here we don't need a task. We'll use the claim identity, which returns claim identity. So here we don't need to convert a task or just make it null. So now it's clear. So we'll receive the claims identity. So if identity is null, then we are going to respond with invalid username and password. If not, we'll get a claim identity which has multiple claims. So I have to make it claim. So here are, I think they have missed the put of claims, list of claims. And then here we are going to make claims, okay, because this method accepts a claims identity, so we don't need to make it just pass the identity. Okay, so we have here created a claims which we are passing the whole identity which we have created over here. Okay, these are the claim collections. We have all this information, username and all that. Then we have JTI, which generates random. Okay, this is the string, so you can put anything you wanted to, right? And then universal integers and claim value types, if this is the integers, and this is the string, and this is the custom things. Okay, so here the principle is generic identity, username will whatever we pass it, and then token, the value we have assigning it, that is a whole string. Okay, so now we came to get we have now collection of claims available, and now here we are going to create a token by passing all this information. Okay, so let's import the subsequent namespaces. So we have a JWT security token. Issuer will be issuer. Who is issuer? So options, here is the options, and we have options issuer, which is set under this property. So we are using that. So now same way audiences will be there, not before. Now is this, and then claims will be the identity.claims that we have listed over here, and then expires will add option.expiration. Expiration will be here from 5 minutes. Okay, you can also initialize it by hours, so it will get 8 hours and all that. The signing credentials will be whatever we set in this property. Okay, that will be done in the starter.cs. Okay, so now we have a JWT object created, and now here we'll go for encode. So here JWT handler will encode that. It will write the token by using this JWT object, and then as a response we are sending the access token, which is encoded over here, and which also expires in the total seconds. It will return the total seconds of 5 minutes that is initialized over here, right? So we'll get two responses, one is for the access token, then other is one for access expires in. Okay, this is the custom names, you can put whatever you wanted. So let's say I wanted to just put the token, so I'll just put the token word, but I like to put the access token. Okay, and serialize all this information to JSON or whatever the response you wanted to make it, whether it's XML, JSON or whatever other is. Okay, so currently I wanted to post all the data using the JSON section, so I'll just explicitly saying, hey, so this object needs to be converted in application.json, or you can go ahead and take context.request.accept type, whatever it is, so you can just make it dynamically. Let's say user is wanted to using XML, so this code will get failed in that case. Okay, so instead of doing this, I can go ahead and put it all from request.headers, then from headers you can get like what accept. So what is the accept? If the accept is JSON, sorry, XML, so you can just put that response type in JSON. Okay, so that will be get dynamic. And then at last we are saying, so whatever the object is mine, where is my object, that this is the response object, and you have to convert by using this kind of settings, intended and all that. Okay, and if you have error, just throw an exception. Okay, you can also configure the exception over here, so whatever the exception you wanted to throw and all that stuff. Okay, so now our middleware is completed successfully. Okay, next is integrating this middleware in our startup dot. So first of all we need a security key, so I'll include that private field in my project, and I'll use this security key. This should be like very tough key, still this is very simple. Okay, so under the configure services method, here what you have to do is simple thing, just go ahead and create a symmetric key. So I'll use the symmetric key and I'll use the secret key as my variable, and then just import the required namespaces, system.text. Okay, now key is encoded. Now this is the most important that we have seen in our previous video, the token parameters. Okay, token validation parameters. What are the parameters you wanted to match while the validating the token? So I wanted to match, okay, these are the predefined properties of this, so you will get all this information, right? So you don't need to worry about to keep in mind. Okay, so here I wanted to match the issuer of signing key, and the signing key is my this signing key. Okay, then I also wanted to validate the issuer with the value of issuer this. You can also make it dynamically from your database. Okay, all the issuers, and if you have a multiple issuers, let's say in our previous video tutorial we have talked about it, like let's say I wanted to the token, I am creating a token based on the issuer. Okay, issuers always also on the audiences. Okay, if the audiences is customers, then we have a we don't need to validate it. If the audience is merchant, then this kind of validations and all that stuff you can put out here. Okay, and then validation lifetime, that is the expiry, and if you wanted to allow a certain amount of clock drift, okay, let's say we have put it that 5 minutes. Okay, but if you wanted to add some few minutes extra, so you can put the differences over here. Okay, so we have created a token parameters. Now we have to include the service in our project. Okay, so we have added the add authentication service by using add JWT bearer, and then we have to pass few options like audiences. There are different projects that we are going to see here, that claim issuer it will be infologs.in, and then token parameters of this object. Okay, at last we are going to use the MVC and all that stuff if you wanted to use it or not. Okay, if you are going to for MVC project, then you can go ahead and use this, otherwise you just don't need it. Okay, and then the configure section, there are few things different. This article was published in I think 2.2, that's why this is I hosting environment, and here I web host environment is available, right? And now here are a few things that need to include our middleware and the options of the middleware. So we are going to use this middleware just after this developer exception section. Okay, so this needs a model, so we have to set a model before including that in our project. Okay, so here you can see that we have assigned a few values to our audiences, issuer, and signing credentials, okay, which is over here. So path is already declared, issuer, audiences, and expiration is also declared, and the signing key that we have used to make validation parameters. So this key, based on this key, we will try to validate our all the parameters. Okay, now it's a time to register middleware. So we have a use middleware, and then we have to pass few options. Options dot create middlewares. Okay, create with this options. But if you notice, we didn't included any parameters over here, right? So for that I have to use I options, I options, and then options. Okay, so what is the extension of this? Oops, let's go inside it. So this is from Microsoft extension dot options. Okay, this is getting a T options and then value, the default configured options instance. Okay, so what is this asking for? Used to retrieve configured T option instances. Potential fixes, we need to include this package. So just go ahead and go for the Microsoft extension options. Okay, so let's check for the support. This is the core, and this is okay. This we need this Microsoft extension options to configure. So yes, this is supported, and click on install, so it will get download and installed in our application. So just wait for a few seconds more. Okay, accept the licenses. Okay, everything is right. So now this error should go away. Okay, just remove the few. Okay, now just import the extension options, and then under the options equals option. Used to retrieve configure T option instance using the generic type I options. T option requires one argument. Okay, so what kind of out options will be token provider options? so I forget to put the value option here. Okay, we provide the values of the options here. And now if you go for the startup, so here you can import the particular namespace which is required. So options dot create middleware by using this option. So now what's the problem is, we don't need to pass this. Let me check. I think there is some compatibility issues. So this is expecting a parameter, so I'll go ahead and ask, this is the token provider options, and again here I have to say I option of this type of options, then options we are taking directly the whole options, so you will see dot value dot path. I think it should get dot value, sorry, dot value dot path. Now it's clear. Again at the bottom, options dot value dot issuer option dot value dot audience dot expiration dot signature and dot expiration. Okay, so now everything is ready, and we are saying builder.use middleware of token middleware. This is perfect. Let's go to the startup, and here we are saying use middleware. So use middleware of type token. What is the name of token provider middleware, and which accepts a parameter of OPTIONS options. Options. Okay, so we did it a little bit different way. So let's check. The existing way was use middleware which accepts a type of middleware. Okay, so here we have options dot create, and then which accepts the options. Then we have options dot, okay, so this has a few options, token provider options to system.type. Okay, that doesn't understand it. So the way what it accepts the options. Okay, so okay, let's check it first and then do it in the later. Okay, so what I'll do here, go ahead and put a breakpoint on the invoke section and try to hit the IS Express. See, whenever you try to implement the real things, you'll see these kind of issues. Okay, so there are in the articles, there will be some, because of the versioning issues, there are the changes, so you have to take care of all that stuff. So here, a suitable constructor for the type JW middleware token cannot be located. Ensure the type, concrete and services are registered for all the parameters and constructors. Okay, so that means at the startup we're not able to take the middleware, right? So we have everything. Let's check it again. Let's continue. Let's stop and run it again. So here we hit the breakpoint, we selected it, add authentication, we have a token parameters, we added the MVC, also added the controllers, and then try to create the host. In the operation, a suitable constructor, the error was actually at use middleware extension. That means it doesn't understand it. Use middleware. Okay, so let me check it. Okay, so we are facing some issues. So oops, one more issues. Cannot cast to. Okay, so what we have here, options PTRNS. So we have to pass it options, but doesn't accepts. Okay, and one more thing that we have to check. Let me revise it one more time. See, these are the real issues you will face while making applications, right? What the hell? Okay, not an issue. So first of all, I have to pass options from startup.cs, and I have taken the options. So over here I don't need to do that. And here dot, let me check the value. So every time I don't need to pass it at all the sections. Oh, this is accepting. So just find and control F, find and replace with blank. So just replace next. Okay, so now what we have did, so token parameter, we asked we need options, which we get it from the startup, and that needs to be mapped with the value or with the token provider options. Okay, so that will be initialized at startup.cs, as you can see over here. So we have initialized and we are passing it in the middleware. What is the middleware? So we have the middleware token provider middleware. Okay, and that will be passed here, and the value will be passed to the private variable of this token provider option, and that can be used in our rest of project. Okay, so now that's clear. So now one more thing, so this is not taking as an option, so this is our generic method, so we have to tell which model. So this is my token middleware option. Now it should, yeah, so this is a basic thing that we have missed. Token middleware option dot create options, and we have also saying you are authorizing. So now everything is looks clear. So let's check it. Okay, for checking, I'll launch the application. It should run without any error. I think it's running. Perfect. Okay, so now for testing purpose, I'll launch the Postman, where we gonna create, will request for the creation of token. So what I'll do, I'll go and hit the middleware breakpoint, and here I'll make a request. Okay, so everything is ready. Just close this, and what is our server? So this is our server, so make it Control A, Control V, then slash token. Okay, so our request is get token, so just send. So here you'll see we got the context, path is slash token, then go ahead and the method is get. So again condition becomes false. So next statement, now we are going to pass the current context to this get generate token method. So go inside this. Yes, so here we are assuming that the username and password is test and test123. Now we are collecting the claims. So for the claims, just go ahead and this. Again we have a claims identity. So here we are matching the username and password is correct, then only we are creating the claims identity and we are returning that claims identity to the here we got the null. So run this, so you get a username and password field, but the username and password is correct, still we are getting that message. That means here I forget to put a return statement. Okay, so one more thing that I think we should go for, the checking of identity, we should make it async. Sorry, we should make it return as a task of CLAIM, claims identity, right? And as since it is task, so I'll make it task dot from result, and we should return this. And again here we should return task dot from result. It is accepting a parameter, then CLAIMS claims identity, and now it should accept a null value. Perfect. Okay, and now here we have to make it a wait, because this is a waitable method. Now it is accepting. Okay, everything should be correct. That's only now here you can use the claims identity, or you can go ahead for the OR variable. Now it's perfect. So we have a return statement over here, and we are also returning a null. Now it should run. Okay, solving the real-time exceptions is a big thing. Okay, so now I'm again requesting it for the token. So we hit the breakpoint, condition makes true, go inside. Now we should get the identity as well. So now we are returning the statement. Okay, now we got the identity. Yes, we have an identity, claims of 4. Okay, name of test and subtest and all the information is available. So condition will become false. Yes, we'll take a current UTC time, and then we'll create a claim, and then this is a temporary claims. We are not using this variable, so whatever the claims we get from above, we'll assigning it to the JWT security token object. So you can delete this claim option as well. So here we are assigning it to the token handler, which is responsible to create a token. So token is created, I think so. Perfect. Okay, and then what we are going to do, we are assigning that token to the response object, and we'll convert it to the JSON, and then we'll return it. So let's see what happened. Our token is created. Now I'll copy this token and I'll go to the jwt.io and we'll cross check what kind of information is available in this token. So here just remove this, copy. Oops, lot of information is available. Oh, invalid signature. Okay, so signature is invalid. Why this signature is invalid? Because I don't have a security key, so I have to pass the security key over here to encrypt all this, so to check all this, to change the details. Okay, if I wanted to make it change, so it will always return you a invalid token. So because if you want to make it change, then you have to provide a valid signature, right? Let's say I can copy this, paste it, invalid signature. So what is your security key? So if you go over here, so this is your security key. So just copy this and go to the builder, Control A, Control V. Now signature is valid. Now you can make it changes over here. So if you want it, taste 123. So now this token is also available or a valid if you go use and modify this. Okay, to modify a token you need a security key. Without security key you can't verify it, sorry, you can make it changes over here. Okay, so in the previous video I talked about you don't need to put put the sensitive information inside the payload data. If you wanted to, you can encrypt that with your different private key and then you can include that in the payload header. Okay, so otherwise make sure don't pass any secured any sensitive data in the payload. Now that's clear. So now we have successfully created a JSON web tokens. Now it's time to pass that token to our controller. Oops, it's a big task. Now we have a controller called weather weather forecast. So how do we pass it? So here it's very simple. Just you have to make it authorize attribute and authorization. So what will be the authentication scheme? So JWT JWT authent. There is something JWT authorization option. Okay, see that class name that you have to make. So here we have to tell them. Okay, so there is other option you can also configure on the startup.cs. Here you can say that add option. So again I don't remember that name. JWT options something, JSON option something was that. JWT. Okay, let me cross check on the internet. Okay, so here what was that option? JWT. Is it available? Yes, perfect. Defaults dot authentication, default authentication theme. Okay, so you can also put here, or you can also go ahead and use the attribute called authorization scheme equals default dot. So again you have to import the namespace. dot authorization scheme, and then so that's our okay, that is a bearer. See, in IntelliSense you can see that authentication scheme is bearer. So here bracket is over, and now we are ready to go. So number one, what we are going to do, so now here I have created a token. In the next tab I'll go for what is this route, and then weather forecast, or weather forecast is get request. Okay, so again I'll post a get request on weather forecast controller. So instead of token, weather forecast, we hit okay. Now there is no need of this. F5 401. Okay, but for the more information I'll hit over here and we'll see 401 unauthorized. Under the header section we got that www authentication was bearer, right, and we got the 401 unauthorized, right. So test result nothing. Okay, so now that means we have to pass a valid header with this request. So here authorization bearer and the token that we have just created before. So bearer space and then your token, and now try to send this request. Yeah, again you are getting the message bearer error, that is invalid token, or token is expired at 11/08/50. So again I have to hit the send, created a new token because this token is valid only for 5 minutes. Copy this, put that in your header. Header attribute should be authorization, and then paste, and then try to send. You should get a proper response. Perfect. Okay, this is the simplest way. Okay, yes, there are few things that you have to keep in mind while developing the application, right? JWT application. Now we can see there we got the information. Okay, let's see what if we enter the invalid data. Let's say I'll just change a single character and then try to send. We didn't get any output, so let's check it. Invalid token. Okay, so see the messages, if the token is valid but expired, so you'll get the exact time when it was expired. Okay, but if the token is not valid, so in that case you just getting a message invalid token, right? So just make a summary of the project very quick, because we have over 1 hour. Okay, so what we did first we created a simple project. In that we have added the token provider options, where we have included a few properties where we can use for creating a token, the path, the issuer, audience's expiration, and the signature credentials through which we are going to encrypt our payload. And then we have added a class, sorry, not a class, it's a middleware class. Okay, where we have included the option. Okay, why we included these options? Because at the registration time of middleware, we have to pass few options to our middleware. Okay, that's why we have taken the I options extensions and passes it to the map that options with your token provider options. Okay, and under the invoke method we have checked for the particular request from the context object, and then we have tried the creation of identities, and we'll try to include all the informations as on required. You can also create your own claims based on the requirements. And then if the static data username and password is valid, then we are returning claims identity, otherwise we are returning a null. And in the token generate token method, we have checked the identity is null, then we are passing the invalid username and password. Okay, and if the identity is okay, then we are okay, this code doesn't need it, so we'll just remove it. Okay, and then we have created a whole claims object, and then we have passed that object to the token handler, and then encoded that JWT token, and then we have created a response because we need to pass the response to the end user. And with that, we have also included the expiry in within the time limit within the second, and this is the simplest way to return the JSON object. Okay, so then we have gone for the startup. There are a few changes. We have first of all created a signing key for our payload, and then we have created a validation parameter, what kind of validation you wanted to put on your JWT token. In that we have seen the validation signing key. So I wanted to validate the signing key. If the signing key is valid, then only the token is returned true. And along with that, we have also included the issuer and audiences, and then the expiration time. We don't need any expiration. Okay, so we have to check it exact expirations. And then we have added the authentication services in our project by using the add JWT bearer options with the audiences and claim, and then the validation parameter that we have just created above. Okay, so services added. Along with that, we have added a MVC, but there is no need for MVC as we have only single controller, and we have added the controller services just below it. So this is just optional. If you are adding, so if you are including this in your MVC project, then this is required. After that, we have struggling a little bit in the configuration sections because we have to pass the options to our middleware. So we have assigned all the information with 512 and all that information. So we forget to use this generic method or use middleware, and then we have passed the few options by using the extension methods. Okay, so these options will directly get mapped to our middleware via this private field. Right, and then we can use we have used all that options in our creation of token and all that stuff. I hope you guys have enjoyed this real-time issue tracking, what kind of issues you are facing. Okay, so yeah, if you have any questions, any queries related to the JWT, you can post it on Facebook, Twitter, or you can also put a comment on the just below this video. And yeah, thank you for watching. In our next video tutorial, we are going to talk about we will create a project without using a middleware, how we can create a token, validate it. Okay, all that options we'll see in the next example. So this example will be available on the Infologs, github.com/infologs, and the next example will create just below it. We'll create a new project and then I'll upload it on the github.com, so you can get and download it, right? Yeah, thank you for watching. See you in the next video tutorial. Till then, bye bye.